guys, I'm Charlotte and today I'll be giving you some book recommendations. So you might be aware that I have done this series of book recommendations based on the Houses of Westeros from A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. I started with House Stark and I've slowly been working my way through them. I have done a fair amount, so I'll leave a link to the playlist down below and up above. The Stark one was the first one, so if you want to check that out to see a bit of background as to what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, then you can. And the playlist, you can search for your favourite house if I've done it, and if I haven't, then stay tuned because it will be here some point in the future. But today we are going to be focusing on House Tully, and I'm basically going to be recommending you 3 books based on the characteristics of that house, whether that be physical characteristics of the people of that house or the characteristics of the sign, the sigil and the colours, the words of the house. Whatever I associate with that house, these books are based on that. So for House Tully, when I think of this house, I think of fish, I think of rivers and water, I think of the colours dark blue and dark red, I think of their house words, family, duty, honour and everything that comes linked with that. And it's these house words that I'll be focusing on today because 3 books, 3 words. I've tried my best to match the books to a word, but if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know down below. If you think there's a book that fits better, again, let me know. And yeah, let's just get right into the books. The first word is family, and for this I have chosen The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. This is a young adult contemporary that follows the main character Star as she witnesses the murder of her unarmed best friend and the aftermath of that and everything that goes on with that. She is the only witness to this crime and how it impacts her community. But the big thing for this is family. Star and her family are very close-knit. They are mentioned heavily throughout this and you really get to know all of them, I found. And there's also family in the broader sense in this, in her community and how they get involved with this. It's not so easygoing and friendly because the neighbourhood drug lord becomes involved and wants to help her. Obviously her family don't want that for her because as a black woman getting involved with gangs, that's not going to end well for her. And Star is also attending a primarily white school, so she's kind of got that conflict of her posh life and then her regular life that is so different, and that culture and that difference is very apparent through this book, and the internal struggle that Star has between staying true to her roots and her family and her race, and then the kind of trying to fit in. The white people that she's around don't understand some of the things that she talks about or, you know, experiences, and in a way it's almost like they're trying to whitewash her to get her to do their stuff, and then when she goes back to her family it's conflicting because obviously her family aren't white. I've probably butchered that and I'm very sorry because this is an incredible book. It is unfortunately quite topical with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and all of the gun crime in America. So if that is something that is sensitive to you or that upsets you, please bear that in mind when going into this, but it is very powerful and yeah, it's really beautifully written. It's a really good story and I just really recommend this. It has been hyped to death all over Twitter and Instagram and everything, but I honestly think it is deserving of the hype because it's just a really good book, and I'm sure there are people out there who can describe it a lot better than me. But yeah, that is the book I have picked for family because the family links in this are just so tight-knit and it is primarily a family book. Next we have Duty, and for that I have picked The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson, and I've actually got a full reading vlog for this, so I'll link that down below, so if you want to get my full thoughts and probably a better synopsis, you can go and watch that. But this is a young adult fantasy that follows the main character Wren, who is chased through the woods every Christmas time by this warring tribe, I guess. That's not the word for it, but it's the best way I can describe it. She herself is part of the Augurs, and their enemies, the judges, chase her in a warped twist on the Irish tradition of the wren hunt. However, if the people chasing her knew that she was an Augur, things would become a lot more deadly, and this book follows the war between the two and also Wren's journey to find some lost magic that can help her family become more powerful, because back in the day the Augurs were like the ones, they were in charge, they were powerful, but now not so much. They've lost a lot of their magic and the judges have kind of taken over. There's a lot more of them, they're a lot stronger, and the Augurs are wanting to try and fight back. So I picked this for duty because Wren has a duty to the Augurs and her family, so again we're tying back into that other theme, to find this artifact by going undercover in the judge's household. This is an incredibly dark, rich fantasy, and for a book so short, it really packs a punch. It's so atmospheric, it's nicely interwoven with folklore and magic and all sorts of stuff, and it just... I really love this book. Again, I'll leave a link to my full vlog down below so that you can see more of my thoughts. And if you're looking for a darker fantasy that involves magic, I would really recommend this one. It is set in a more modern setting, however, it is fantasy. It's just more of an urban fantasy, I guess. So if you're not a fan of high fantasy and you want something a bit more real, then I would recommend this one. And then lastly, and the one that I am really going to butcher in trying to give a synopsis for, we have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. And I've picked this for honour because it just has that vibe to me. But this follows Merricat Blackwood as she, her sister and her uncle are the only surviving members of the Blackwood family. 6 years ago, a fatal dose of arsenic was found in the sugar bowl at dinner, and the family has never been the same since. Partly because half of them are dead, but also because the people in the village surrounding their house now hate them. They have turned on the Blackwoods completely. Constance now doesn't leave the house because she was accused and acquitted of the murder. Uncle Julian is wheelchair bound and is trying to write his memoirs, and Merricat is just a bit weird. But then things all change for them when their cousin arrives, and he's not quite what he seems, and things just go badly for the family from there on out. It's a bit mysterious, the narrator is completely unreliable, and it's just a really dark, atmospheric classic. But I have picked this for honour because, I don't know, there's just something about the family that screams honour to me. They're quite proud, and Merricat I find especially, because she still goes into town and has to deal with all the villagers being rude to her and her family, and yet she still does it. She still kind of goes through with her head held high and is still like, oh well, I'm a Blackwood, I'm better than you. And Uncle Julian especially gives that vibe because he's trying to write his memoirs and he's quite diligent in that, and he really wants to get it right. He wants to document the Blackwood family, and I don't know, memoirs aren't a common thing these days, so coming across them, I'm kind of like, that's a bit honourable and a bit superior, I guess. And for this, I don't think it fits honourable in the same way I would pick an honourable book for House Stark. If you think about Ned Stark, he's very honourable and truthful and wants to do the right thing. But the Blackwoods, I don't think are like that. I picked this for honour in the sense that they're more superior and honour themselves above other people. Not so much honest. I guess they're all a bit morally grey, and this one's a bit of a loose link to honour, but I don't know, there's just something about the family and the house and the story that just seems very... It's hard to put into words, this one. It's difficult to describe, but it also does link back to family and duty because obviously it follows a family and everything that's gone wrong with them. But Merricat is still very close to Constance and values her highly, so family in that respect is valued even though it's not the ideal family. And then duty, I do feel Merricat feels like she has a duty to her family in whatever twisted way that may be. But I'm gonna leave that there because I have completely butchered that, I'm aware, but it is really good. It's really short, but if you're looking for a dark, atmospheric, quick, modern classic, I would pick this one up. It's very easy to understand as well because it is modern and it's kind of thriller-esque. So yeah, I would highly recommend that one as well. So those were the 3 books I picked for House Tully. I hope you agree with my picks for family, duty and honour, and that you think that these books fit those themes. If not, please let me know down below, and if you have any recommendations for this house, please feel free to share them. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye!